What's up, everybody? My name is Chad. You're watching Downshift Pass, and this is the 2024 Acura Integra Type S. All right, folks, and we're doing something a little different today and starting under the hood. Now, this is a 2-liter turbocharged with VTEC 4-cylinder engine, creates 320 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque, which is 5 horsepower more than the Honda Civic Type R, and it's a really peppy, fun little engine. I can't wait to get into the drive and talk about with you. But this is going to be one of the main reasons you want to get the Type S over the A spec, over of course a base model or anything. It's going to be this engine here. Now, if you take a look, this is a functioning hood scoop here, and I'll take this hood down so we can start talking about styling. But yeah, you have the functioning hood scoop, different intakes as well to create some really nice sounds here. And let's just take a look at the styling of the Integra Type S. This is a really handsome automobile. Up front, of course, you do have your Type S badging here. I love how they have Integra embossed on the grille. And if you look in the headlight, you can kind of see a little bit. It says Acura Integra Type S, so you kind of know what's going on up here. I think it's really neat. Of course, that DRL is the chicane DRL headlight, which you see on all the Acuras nowadays. And then of course you have larger intakes as well for better airflow under the vehicle, around the vehicle, and into the vehicle. Because take a look at that intercooler there to keep everything cool, because again, this is a track focused automobile. Now, taking a step back as we move along to the side, this is Apex Blue Pearl, second best color next to the Tiger Eye Pearl, which I'll go ahead and put on the screen so you can see that color as well. That would be my choice. But this Apex Blue Pearl, I mean, if you look at my RSX Type S that I personally own, you'll understand why I love this color. Now, coming along the side here, take a look at these fender flares. It almost gives it, you know, that wide body feel. I love how they have it integrated here so it doesn't look tacked on like the last Type R that was out, the last generation. Of course, you have your Type S badging here. Mirror caps are body color. You do have turn signals, of course, in the mirrors as well. And overall, the lines on the car are just beautiful. The only thing that I really am not a fan of is how this is clearly tacked on the rear, but from afar, it doesn't look bad. And again, it gives you that nice wide stance here to cover these nice wheels. Now, this is a 19-inch wheel, 265, folks. 265 on a front wheel drive car. I just love that. Now, up front, you do have Brembo brakes. They do have the Acura logo on it instead of Brembo, but Brembo up front, standard ventilated brakes in the rear to help slow you down on this vehicle, and it just looks really aggressive with those Michelin tires. Now, as we move along to the back here, of course, this is my favorite angle of the Type S. Take a look at your Type S badging here, nice subtle badging. And then as we move along to the other side, they have Integra also embossed in the back in the grille, kind of a harken back to the last generation, or yeah, the last generation Integra that was actually out. Now, take a look as we move down below to this very aggressive diffuser at the bottom of the vehicle that surrounds this triple exhaust here, which looks good, but guess what? Sounds even better. Let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, folks, that was Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus. Now I want you to go ahead and head down to the comments and tell me why Sport Plus was your absolute favorite, because it sure was mine. Those crackles and pops that it let off are just phenomenal. And it's also just fun when you're going down the street to kind of play with the clutch a little or play with the gas pedal a little bit to make the car do that. Now, stepping into the Acura, of course, here is your key here. I love how it has Type S on the back, and then you have Acura on the side. And then of course you have your lock, unlock, your hatch button, which is not a power hatch, but it will unlock it, and then of course hold for your panic button. And this key has some nice weight to it, so it just feels nice and premium, because the price tag on this car is also a little premium. But to unlock, of course, you just stick your hand behind the handle, car unlocks for you. If you do want to lock it, there's grooves here, you just put your finger there and it'll lock right up. But we're going to go ahead and step inside, and they also have the lights behind the handle, which kind of gives it a little bit more quality feel as well. Now this is the interior of the Integra Type S. I'm going to go ahead and get inside because it's a cold day here today. And as you can see, the car properly greets you, but with my foot on the clutch and the pulsating start button here, we're going to start it right up. Love that, love that. Now it always starts in the last mode that you were in, unless you were in Sport Plus mode. Then it'll start, I believe, in Comfort. It seems like it keeps doing for me. But let's go ahead and take a look at just this interior space. You have some nice soft touch injected mold plastic here, and then of course you have nicer materials moving down, and anywhere that your arm or hand touches is really a soft touch. I'm going to guess this is leather. To be honest, it doesn't feel like it, but it's definitely soft, feels good. You have your nice red stitching here, auto, driver, and passenger window, and in the back it is not auto. Of course, you have your mirror controls on the door as well. And as we take a look at this center gauge here, this is fully digital except for the gas and the temperature gauge, but it is fully digital, not very customizable is the thing that I'm not a fan of. Now if you change your dynamic modes, it will change slightly in the gauge cluster here, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in Comfort, which, as you can see, it turns blue. On the surrounds, that is Sport, which is just a standard white color, and then red, of course, is Sport Plus. Now corresponding to that is going to be the infotainment screen here, which that is Sport Plus, that is Sport, and then that is Comfort. And then you have individual mode as well, which, while we're here, let's go ahead and talk about that. Now individual mode, you can customize the engine, steering, suspension, and gauge. Now for my personal individual taste, I have everything set to Sport Plus except for the suspension, because for everyday driving, it's not too rough, believe it or not, but it's rougher than what it needs to be if you're just daily driving this vehicle. So Comfort is actually perfect because this is still an amazing performer, my God. Now as we move down below to the steering wheel, nice steering wheel with the perforated leather here, smooth leather up top, which I love. You do have more Type S badging down below, if you can see that. Steering wheel controls, volume controls, and radio controls on the left side. All the cruise control functions are going to be on the right side of the steering wheel. And horn check. It's enough to maybe make people get out the way, not really sure. As we look at the vents here, from afar they actually look really neat. Up close it literally just looks like a plastic cover that they put on, but nothing I'm going to ding the car for. Directional controls here, which have a nice tactile feel, function, and sound, which I love. Now let's take a look at these auto climate controls here. Heated seats for starters, and the heated seats are really great. Talk about seat comfort and everything on the drive. Have your auto on off button here, and it is not a dual zone, it is a dual zone temperature control, so that's really neat. And I love the noise that it makes. It just adds to the more premium feel when you are stepping up to an Acura product. You do have chargers here, so USB, standard USB, as well as USB-C, and you also have a 12-volt available. You do have a wireless charger down here as well, which works pretty good and holds the phone in place. You do have these grooves here to hold the phone in place pretty well. If you have like a non-stick situation with the phone, it works even better. Now again, these are your different drive modes here and how you operate them. So individual is just a button, which I love. Anytime you want to go straight to what you want, just push a button. And then these are how you control the dynamic control. Listen to that noise. And that's noise if you have to go up, if it's no other option there. An automatic parking brake, which we're living in 2023. This is a 24, so I might as well accept it. I would much prefer a handbrake. Why? Manual transmission, I'm just used to it. You do have brake hold function as well, and this is your close ratio exclusive 6-speed manual transmission, which rolls through the gears really nicely. I love it. All right, that's going to be your reverse camera there. Quality on it is horrible, actually, to keep it honest with you, but you do have sensors as well, which you probably noticed on the outside of the car to assist you. It does have cross traffic alert. You can dim, you can just do a few different functions with it, and then you can make it larger. Now when you make it larger, to me it shows really how bad the quality is, and I would much rather just use the mirrors as well as system here that shows how close that you are. So more Type S badging here, if you can see it. You have 2 cup holders and of course a middle console here. Materials here are okay. I'm going to be honest with you, as soon as I got in the car, up here was the first thing I noticed, especially with this decent size screen. And I thought about, okay, $50-some thousand car, it just did not feel like it to me, but it didn't feel cheap, but it did not feel its price point. But this car is not about that. This car is completely about the drive. And take a look at those speaker grills on the ELS Studio audio system. Really beautiful here. And you also have speakers up top. If I'm not mistaken, there are 16 speakers to this stereo system, which is just phenomenal. Now let's go ahead and step in the back seat. If you are looking at this as a daily, this is going to be important to you. Now I do have the driver position, the driver's seat in my seating position. I am 5'8", and as you can see, I have pretty good space. I think it's always important to have some space that your feet can slide under to give the illusion of more leg room, but knee room is great. I mean, you could be comfortable back here for shorter trips. And shorter trips, you might ask, well, there is no armrest. The seats are relatively flat, as you can see. Comfort is okay, but it's just nowhere that you would want to be for an extended period of time. But you do have 2 cup holders if for any reason you're on a track with your friends and need cup holders instead of supportive seats. But hey, I am not an engineer. But let's go ahead and take a look at the hatch. This is another reason why you want to purchase this vehicle. Didn't talk about this, but take a look at that black spoiler, which is also standard on the Type S. Looks really awesome. Tail lights also look really awesome as well. This is like a 3D floating effect that's in there. I hope it translates well on camera. If not, just know that it looks really amazing and you should go check one out for yourself. But let's take a look at this hatch space here. All right, so yes, this is a hatchback, folks, and this is decent space. It's about comparative to everything else in its class. It is really nicely lined, which I appreciate, so it looks really good. You have 2 more speakers back here. I think you have 2 in the front door, 2 in the back, ceiling, speakers everywhere in this car. And of course, this is the big boy here. This is going to be the subwoofer that keeps the thump going on that ELS audio system. A little bit of storage space here, and then storage space under a little bit. Of course, you got to fix the flat because no spare tires in this vehicle, and I lifted this up earlier. It's not want to come up now, so but under there is just a little bit of storage space. But that is pretty much it. The only thing I will say is if you are grabbing stuff out, be careful because you will get mighty close to those tailpipes. Don't ask me how I know. All right, folks, setting off here in the 2024 Acura Integra Type S. I am really excited for this one. Now, I do have it in comfort mode now, but you guys know, of course, here at Downshift Pass, we're all about that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in a Sport Plus setting because I really want you guys to get into the snap, crackles, and pops that it makes. Hopefully, it translates on camera. However, the suspension is a little rough when I do that, so it won't be for long. I'll put it back in my individual mode, which if you watch the first part of the video, you'll know exactly what that setting is. If you don't, go back and rewatch it. All right, and take And taking off in first gear here, you can kind of hear it. I won't be talking much through this drive because just follow me on this drive. Now, I'm not sure if it's shown on camera either, but this car does have a heads-up display, which I have yet to figure out how to cut off. I'm sure it's a way, but I'm struggling with figuring that one out. But it does show your directions if you have the navigation going. Shows all the information that you really need up there, which is pretty neat. And over time, you just forget about it. If you've had a heads-up display system before, then you know over time you're just like, it's like anything else in the car. Now the roads that I'm on right now are a little rough. I'm going off-road it a little bit at a nice hill to show that this turbo does not let up. And again, this is in Sport Plus mode, which is actually a really good time to talk about the suspension settings here. Now, again, I told you guys that I keep it in comfort mode, in the individual mode. I keep it in comfort mode, and everything else in Sport Plus. I will say this Sport Plus does not beat you up. This car is based pretty much on the, well, wholly on the Civic Type R. It does have some different suspension tunings as far as harshness goes, so this one is definitely not as harsh as the Civic Type R's most sportiest setting. And in fact, I will go as far as saying that there's really, you probably hear it in my voice, but there's really no harshness to the point of uncomfortability at all in this Type S, which I absolutely love. Now, I'm going to put it in my individual mode. As you can see, I have the gauges set to Sport Plus. Again, suspension, which is in comfort, transmission, steering, everything else is in Sport Plus. And we're going to turn out here and give it a little power. Ooh, woo! This is a fun little rocket ship, boy. All right, folks, let's take this bad boy on the highway. I'm not full throttle no more. I don't want to. That's full throttle. Here we go. And there are those Brembos. Oh man, this is a fun car. I will say it doesn't feel as raw as the last Civic Type R, which is all I can compare it to. This is the, first Integra Type S that we have here in the States. Not going to compare it to an RSX Type S or anything like that because generations apart, worlds apart, those are just totally different cars. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and have everything in its comfort setting. So that's going to quiet up the exhaust, make the suspension that much softer. Steering is going to be a little bit lighter. Everything is just going to be comfortable. Now, the first thing I noticed, man, this car handles. The first thing I noticed in comfort mode is really just, you really start realizing how loud the car is even without the exhaust. Now, this is a sport compact based on the Honda Civic. I get it, but this is also a $54,000 car. But this is an Acura, and I just feel like you would want to get a little bit better experience as far as sound quality goes. Now, this is a track car, so I know that's not what they are focused on, but Acura does put an emphasis that this is for the street and Type R is for the track. So if this is for the street, let's make it a little bit more quiet, but nothing that the ELS audio system doesn't drown out. Really, really nicely. Now this is one of my favorite sweepers here. I'm gonna let that car go a little bit. All right, this shows its handling prowess really nicely. This car just sticks and sticks and sticks. I hope it's translating well. Flooring it. Man, oh man, oh man. I have been mentioning the audio system in this video a few times. Again, this is the ELS Studio 3D system. And I'm gonna go ahead, cut some music on so we can listen to it. Again, 16 speakers in this vehicle. Very, very powerful audio system. If you're familiar with Acura products, especially that ELS system, you know it's top notch. In the MDX, the TLX was one of the best audio systems I've heard in my life. But let's see if this Integra can continue on with that crown. Folks, that was all in comfort mode too, by the way. This car does not let up. All right, but let's talk about that audio system. Now, again, that was the ELS Studio 3D audio system. 16 speakers in this car, nice large subwoofer, speakers in the ceiling, just speakers all over this vehicle. Now, does it hold a candle to the TLX or the MDX audio systems, which really set a standard for me? No, it does not, but it does sound pretty good, especially for its price point. If you compare it to the Civic Type Rs, which Civic now uses Bose audio systems, or Honda now uses Bose audio systems in their cars, that Bose system really doesn't stand up to this ELS. So you are getting better quality things in the vehicle for the additional price that you're paying over the Civic. My biggest question is it really worth the price difference though? Because this is a really pricey automobile. But if audio is important to you, if you're an audiophile like myself, you would definitely want to get this car strictly for that. All right, folks, and rolling into my final thoughts of the 2024 Acura Integra Type S. I'm just so excited that they actually made this vehicle for the people that want it. And that's really what it comes down to for me. This is a very, very specific car that I think the only people that would truly appreciate are brand loyalists. Now, the Sport Compact is a very competitive market. This is one of my favorite streets right here, guys. And on it, they have put speed bumps. Just Killjoy City of Atlanta. But yeah, it's just going to be for a very specific buyer to a very specific brand. Now this car, again, you've heard me talk about the price, is not cheap. You're looking at about $51,000 for this car, which puts you in the neighborhood of a lot of competition. I mean, again, my personal favorite, if we're looking at similarities, is definitely going to be the Golf R. With that Golf R, you have all-wheel drive, you have just better materials, it feels a little bit more luxe. Things that just are important to me. You have a sunroof, which will be very important. And then of course you start looking at the higher end cars because you are in that price point. So the Audi S3s, the CLA 35, you know, the 2 Series, I guess you could kind of look at that one as well. But I just don't know if Acura can compete with that level of cars. So it makes you wonder, where does this really fit in? Now, would I purchase this over the Type R? Personally, yes. I think this car looks better than the Type R. It definitely looks a little bit more grown up. If you're a person that feels like the Type R is just a little too juvenile for you to pull up to your job in, or for you to take clients in, but you still want to have fun on the weekends, this is definitely going to be the car for you, especially if you could find it in like a black color or the darker colors. This blue color is just iconic. That Tiger Eye Pearl is going to be a collector's edition one day, so if you can grab one of those, definitely do so. So overall, better car than the Type R, just not sure it's better than the competition. That was an ugly shift. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. Definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as that notification bell, so you can be notified when I post more cool content, and it helps me get more cool content like this one here. So thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.